We're here in New York with the IAJE, the International Association of Jazz Educators, and their conference, 31st annual conference of the organization. And we're delighted to have with us to be a part of this DVD project, Dr. Billy Taylor, who everybody knows doesn't need an introduction. And it's funny because Rich Taylor and I used to talk about you frequently. And the reason we did, because Rich, when he was teaching, said, I'm going to teach higher education, H-I-R-E. He felt that he wanted his students to be able to go out, find work, but more importantly, be able to market themselves and encapsulate all of those things that one needs to do to be successful out there. We always use you as an example because we felt you were the consummate businessman, musician, television celebrity. You had all of this, plus the talent, and you seemed to keep it all afloat. And we were always, really impressed with that. So we use you as an example to many of our students. And one other thing that we talked about that we felt was really important, because Rich was the type of guy, when he was talking to a student, there was nobody else around. And I've noticed many times when I've come to performances of yours or here at IAJE, I'll be standing around, or could be anybody, another big name jazz artist. You're speaking to a student, your attention is focused on him right to the very end. And that's one of the things that I really respect about you, that you do that kind of thing. So, but we're here to talk about a little bit about Rich Madison, and I was just wondering when the first time was that, or when was it the first time that you had the opportunity to meet with Rich or perform with him?
I remember being in New York on one occasion. I can't remember what the occasion was, but this guy was he looked like a farmer or something, and he kind of waddled in and took out his horn. I never heard anybody play like this. This guy, I said, what's going on? Man, he was so beautiful. The manner, it was such ease and such musicianship. Everything about his presentation was impeccable. I said, man, who is this guy, man? And when I got to meet him, I found out what a wonderful human being he was. But that first time, it was, I think it was a brass conference of some sort, and there were all these players and everybody. This guy stood out like, and he wasn't playing the trumpet. I mean, that's right. I was just so impressed with his musicianship. I mean, it was so. He was one of those players that when he played something, it was inevitable. Well, of course, that's the way it goes.
Right. Did you have any opportunity to spend any time with him off the, outside of the classroom situation or whatever?
Not nearly enough. On several occasions, when I came to one of the schools where he was, I got a chance to hang with him, and that was beautiful. But our schedules my schedules in particular, was always so precarious. I was doing a zillion things, and I would run into him. And even on the occasions when we were somewhere together, like a convention or something like that, we would be hitting and missing. And so, unfortunately for me, except for the time that I spent in Florida that time, that was one of the most memorable periods, both as a player and a teacher, and just to be with him was just wonderful, because what you were saying about the way you felt that I treated students, well, I hope it was close to what he did, because it really was so focused and so it worked. I mean, you know as a teacher how it is when you watch someone who's a pro and he's doing what he does, and you see it working. I mean, it was just a joy to see. I mean, he would get students and they would be, kind of shaky and for whatever reason. And in a couple of minutes, man, he would say, "Well, no, you've got to come here. Man. Just pull them aside for a minute, and then all of a sudden it's all right."
Yeah.
That is an envious place, enviable place to be, because I'm envious of something like that, because man, that's the way you teach.
I was talking to a former student today that was saying that one of his influences was Louis Armstrong. And of course, Rich, when he was with the Dukes of Dixieland, recorded an album with Louis. And he said probably the one thing that impressed me most about Rich was his storytelling. He could tell a story and draw you in, that you're experiencing what he experienced. That's the way he conveyed, his stories to people. And I thought about that. I said, boy, that's really a unique
It is.
attribute and an ability for somebody to be able to do that. And I thought back over the years that we've interacted, and he did. He had that ability to put you there,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. And but he's done so many great things for so many people at this point that we felt it was important to do this project and to keep the good work that he had done over the years alive. And
Well,
I
there's
think,
so many facets of it. I mean, the things that he's done as a teacher,
Mhm.
the things that he's done as a player.
Right.
I mean, just to put that aside for a moment, to take all of the things that you couldn't do that on that instrument. I mean, it was not possible
Right.
to do, and he did it with, just sheer delight, man. I mean, he'd do something and say, "I mean, isn't this fun?" It's
Right.
fun, man. Who can do that but you?
well, there'll be a lot of students watching this DVD because we want to use it as a history
Good.
Tool in
Mhm.
the schools. And one of the students had said to me, he was talking about practicing,
Mhm.
and said that Rich practiced 3 hours a day. And we were talking, and I mentioned the fact that I was at an IAJE convention, and I think it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I came into this back room and I heard this piano playing. I think, what is that? I went back, and you were sitting at the piano, and you said, "I got to find time to practice."
That's right. I remember that.
So, but Rich was true to his instrument, true to his to the jazz, and spent at least 3 hours a day,
Yeah.
piano and what have you. But he was a unique individual, and like I said, we're hoping that this project will help keep it alive. And it makes it's really exciting for us to have you here, because you've done so many of these kinds of things, and I know you've called me in years past and said, "We got this project going on. Is there any way you can help?"
Sure.
So you do this,
And you did.
and you do this for a lot of folks, and we do appreciate it. But we wanted just to have the opportunity to have you come in and just say a few words about.
Well, it's
Rich.
really an honor for me, because Rich Madison was one of those rare persons that he lived the kind of thing that we talk about when we talk. This is a jazz musician, and it's a very high calling when you put it on the level that Rich put it on, and his life exemplified the things that he taught. And I mean, all of the things that made life important, made music important. Those are the things that he taught. And a lesson with him. I mean, I sat in on a couple of sessions with him, and the same thing. He wasn't aware of it. I was sitting there. I mean, 5 minutes after, and he was focused on the people that he was talking to, and it was just a joy to watch this guy work, because I learned so much. I mean, just to see how he would put things together and say, well, listen, we're really talking about an instrument that is not a solo instrument. But this is an instrument which is beautiful, has its own qualities, and those are the qualities that you want to accentuate. And so, and he just made it so pleasing and so appealing that as a non-student, I'm thinking, next time we get some brass things, I'm going to be thinking about this.
Well, that's great. Dr. Billy Taylor, thank you so much for giving us time today, and we look forward to many more projects that you're going to be involved with, because you do such a great job for jazz and our industry, and certainly IAJE. Thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, sir.